Well, Americans for Tax Reform President Grover Norquist joins me now. So let's talk taxes for a second here, Grover, because we have the big, beautiful bill is now law of the land. Thank God we won't have these tax increases that would have expired at the end of the year without this extension. But there is still in D.C. this so-called D.C. brain trust. You're one of the rebels of that trust, but who still don't believe in the incentive power of lowering tax rates. They hold the floor even with a lot of Republicans. We saw that happen. Of course, in the end, the Republicans went with Donald Trump on this. But why is it that they have that much power inside the Beltway?
Well, I would argue they don't have much power because they lost
lose big time
during this debate. We not only have made permanent expensing and lower taxes for smaller businesses and pass-throughs, we protected the permanency of the corporate income tax, which was at 35%, highest, stupidest in the world, higher than communist China, higher than France. That was brought down by the Republicans 7 years ago, down to 21%, which is okay. We do need to go to 15, and that's where we go to next. There were a few voices. Hawley, who's a big government Republican in the Senate, but he's alone on that. Nobody supported his position of raising the corporate income tax. It was so powerful a tool for economic growth. Nobody's stupid enough to argue for that. Even the Democrats shut up about that. I mean, think of the silence where they weren't demanding that we raise the corporate income tax, because we know, and even they know, that the corporate income tax is paid by consumers and workers in lower pay. It's not paid by, there is no Mr. General Motors. So this changes the world because we have a united Republican Party, except for one or two jerks, okay, who understand that lower rates give you growth, create incentives that make our pay go up.
Yep.
And inventions made here, not somewhere else, and that is locked in permanent. We've had temporary tax credits for business investment.
Yeah.
The expensing is permanent.
Yeah, no, it's huge. And I want to switch to another subject that's one of our favorites, and starting with the UK. The United Kingdom is thinking of coming up with this wealth tax idea, which has failed time and time again. 8 separate European countries have put it in place and then stopped it because it was actually having the opposite effect, sending capital out of their countries. They ended up with fewer tax revenues as a result of the wealth tax. There are people in the United States, from Liz Warren to Bernie Sanders, who want it here. Why do they keep doing the same mistake over and over again?
Well, look, the Republican Party drew a line in the sand back in 1994, and 96% of all the candidates says we are never raising taxes. And there hasn't been a tax increase, if the Republicans were in charge, since 1990 when Bush did it. The Republicans said we're never doing that again. And the reason they run Congress and the presidency is the country believes them when they say that. When we've taken the position we're not raising taxes, we win. The Democrats will do anything and everything to break the pledge and to break that commitment by Trump. Trump says nobody's rates are going up, not for high income, low income, middle income, business income. I mean, he said it again and again on when he was campaigning, and he said, this is it. We're not going to allow you to divide the American people into different groups and mug them one at a time. Every Democrat run for president said, I'm not taxing anyone unless you make more than this. They try and get 1 or 2% that they say they're going to threaten. But the first tax cut Obama put in was on cigarette smokers, average income about $35,000 a year. They taxed everyone, but they promised they'll only tax the rich.
Right.
And the taxing businesses, as we pointed out, is taxing workers.
Yeah, and again, you make the great point. They always say it's just going to be the rich who pays, and very shortly afterwards, everybody pays. In fact, the rich don't get taxed because they move their money out of the taxable items. We got to leave it at that, Grover. But the man behind the no tax pledge, Grover Norquist, one of the best things you've ever done. Thank you, Grover. Appreciate you coming in.